Podcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? This is Mary, and today I'll be joining you in your weekly webinar. I hope you had a happy Valentine's Day. I bet you all had a great day yesterday, eating chocolate and pizza. And if not, I really hope you have a great weekend since today's Friday already. I'm going to share my screen right away because we have something new in our control panel and I want you to check it out. Uh, as you may know, in the old version that we had, you were able to send 30 contracts every day, 30 new offers every day, of course, including weekends. And with the new version, you can send now up to 50 contracts every day. But how are you going to keep track on how many contracts have you sent already? Where there it is. Our programming team has added this little graphic that we can see here. Of course, today I haven't sent any contracts. So I have contracts X 0 and remaining contracts 50. So this promises to be a very useful tool in your everyday business so you can keep track on how many contracts you've sent along the day. As always, remember that you can ask as many questions as you need to. If you have any questions, remember that all you need to do is type in the question box, okay, and I'll read the question out loud and answer anything you need. Right now, remember that you can start following us on Instagram. We are at REIFax USA. We're also in Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. We're pretty much everywhere. And of course, you can go and check our YouTube videos. You can subscribe to our channel and activate the notifications so you can get a notification in your device whenever we upload a new video. Please remember that we upload every webinar every Friday so you can see them if you miss them on Monday, okay? Today, during today's webinar, I'll be talking about how to set your contracts, how to upload them, how to upload an additional documents, adding variables, okay? All that. This is our control panel, and right now I'm in one of the sub-products. I'm going to switch to REIFax Professional. What we are going to be doing today can be done in any of our products. You can do it in REIFax Platinum, you can do it in REIFax Professional, and you can also do it for REIFax Professional Dialer. Perfect. So right now we are on the search section of REIFax Professional. The search section looks pretty much the same for any product you have. But today, instead of dedicating to the search section, as I mentioned, we are going to select settings. Okay, I have a very great question. I see Abby, you sign up for REIFax, knows nothing about this program. How is this webinar going to benefit me today, please? Well, this is going to be a great webinar for you, Abby, because in order for you to use your REIFax account, okay, if you have REIFax, as I mentioned, for any product you have, you're going to need to have documents uploaded to your account, okay? If you need to send a contract, if you need to send an additional document, you need to have those PDF documents uploaded to your account. And I'm going to teach you how you're going to upload, how you're going to edit or delete any of these documents, okay? Again, if you have any questions, just let me know, okay? Right now, as I mentioned, we are going to select this option here, okay? We are in settings right now. You're all going to be looking at this when you access your REIFax account. You're all going to have these options. If you have platinum, then you won't see follow-up, okay? But you will always have the settings option. So we're going to click on settings, and this will take me automatically to the assistance option, but we're going to click on documents. I already have some documents uploaded to my account. Okay, so this is how it looks when you have documents already added to your account. But what if I don't have, for example, maybe in your case, Abby, how do we do if we have this blank, if I have nothing in my account? Well, that's very easy. Here on the top right, we're going to see a plus sign that says add document. We're going to click on add document. Okay, I have a couple of questions here. First, again, Abby, she's a BRIA Platinum Mentorship Program. Is there anything in particular that I need to pay attention to today? Well, it's important that you pay attention to everything we say today because maybe you're going to be needing to modify any of the documents BRIA already offers to you, okay? Or maybe you're going to, in the future, you will need to edit your own documents. So this is going to be a very general webinar for all of you. So try to pay attention to as much as you can. And I have a second question. William, I imported a form that has my signature already added. However, when I load the form, the signature does not appear. I also added my signatures in a PNG format, and the signature background appears in REIFax as black, even though the PNG file is transparent. Well, we always advise to load documents that are blank, okay? I'll show you in a second. And the format that you use in order to upload signatures and initials is JPEG. If you add your signatures and initials in a JPEG format, then you won't have that problem, okay? So try to save that same PNG as a JPEG and upload it and you'll see, okay? So adding the document, click on the plus sign, and this opens my browser for my computer. I'm already in my REIFax folder, and I'll scroll down until I find my contract. This is my PDF. This is blank. This does not contain anything. It has all the blanks unfilled, and I click on open. This is a notification where we let you know that REIFax does not provide any documents, okay, to your account. If you have any contracts already in your account, that's because you're part of a mentorship program, could be with DRIA or BRIA, but REIFax does not provide any documents or additional documents, okay? Please take a second in order to read this, and once you have, we click on agreed. In the meantime, we read William, but the issue is the JPEG is not transparent, hence it may white out the form text. Well, William, since this is a particular case that you're presenting, you can go ahead right now if you want to and contact our customer service department. They're already there. If you need to contact customer service, you just click here on this icon. Looks like a smile. And we're already online. We can help you out with that specific problem. Thank you. Okay. So now I already added my document. Here it is. But we need to modify this. We need to add certain things. Okay, so I'm going to click here on the document. And this opens the dialog so I can edit everything. So the first thing I'm going to check is the name of my document. So this is the name that I use in my computer, but I need to change this. So I can erase this. And I can change the name that easy. Okay. Also, I can add the buyer's name. I can use a couple of options for buyers. I can add a couple of options for sellers or have one buyer, one seller. Okay. Okay, I see within here, I actually already asked the question and they have not gotten back to me. Okay, I'm going to ask them to contact you right away. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, I see here, as I mentioned, 2 options for buyers, 2 options for sellers, or one buyer, one seller. You can select whichever you need to. Going to scroll down a little bit and I'm going to add, let's say, the first option for the buyer. Just the name, the address line, address line 2, and address line 3. Okay, now we have these couple of options, active or inactive. Active is basically the default option that will appear every time you generate a contract. Okay, if I switch this to inactive, this will switch to active automatically. Okay, you cannot have both as active. Also here I can add the additional information. Okay, basically the inspection days. You can use these little arrows in order to increase it or decrease it, or you can simply type the number you want. Okay, so far so good. We've changed the name of the contract. We've added the option 1 for buyer. You can also add the option 2 for buyer. We've left this as active. We've added the additional information. Now, I also need some additional documents for my contract. And here in this blue bar, in this blue section, it says additional documents. And here in this blue button says add. Here's where I can add the additional documents that will be attached or related to this particular contract. If you have 5 contracts and you want the same additional document to be attached to that contract, to those 5 contracts, and you have to upload the additional document 5 times. Okay, once per contract. So right now I'll click on add, and again I'm back to my folder. I select my additional document and I click on open. Again, the same disclosure, and I click on agreed. And there it is, my additional document. If I mark this box, this will let the system know that I want this additional document to be attached to this contract automatically every time I generate this contract, okay? Every time I generate this contract, automatically the additional document will be there, okay? Now, I need to edit the contract, of course. I haven't added anything to this contract. Right now, the contract and the additional document is blank. Okay? So I'm going to click on Edit Contract. Here. Edit Contract. And this opens the editor. As you can see, I have my contract and everything's blank. Of course, this is a sample. This is not a real contract, as you already know. And I only see here the first page. If I need to go to the second page, I'll click on this arrow. Again. And if I need to go to the final page, remember in real contracts we have 12 pages. If you want to go to the final page right away, you just click on this one. And we're in the final page with no problem, okay? So from here, we have a few options that we can use. We can add variables, we can add circles, check marks, X's, texts, okay? Or we can also add math operations, okay? All of these with the purpose of filling all the blanks that we have in our contracts whenever we need to generate them. Let's give it a second. While I type customer service. Okay, William, I've already typed my done. I've already typed my coworkers so they can contact you. They're going to contact you right away so they can help you out with your signatures and your initials. They're going to text you right away. So here we are in our first page, and let's start reading and see what we have. So here we have the undersigned hereby purchaser hereby offers to purchase from the owner the real estate located at, and here we're going to have the property address, correct? And in order to add the variable that corresponds to property address, we're going to click on this drop-down menu. This is going to show all the options that we have for variables. This is organized alphabetically, which makes really easy to find a variable. So since this is property address, I will click, and this is going to give me a warning. There it is. Please first select the position over the contract. And this is because I forgot, before adding a variable, we need to click where we want the variable to be. So I want my variable to be here, and I'll click here. And now if I click on the drop-down menu and select property address, that's where my variable will be. Now this might be a little crooked, it's a little bit under the line. I could move it a little bit to the left. All I need to do is click and drag. That will place my variable exactly where I want it to be. Now in the city of, again, I need to click first, keep forgetting, and property city, and drag county of, click property county, almost perfect, and state of, and let's say that you always work in Florida. Let's say that that is not necessarily a variable because you do not make deals in any other state other than Florida. You can add that as a text instead of a variable because that's not going to change, right? So I'm going to click here on this space, but instead of looking for a variable, I can click here on add text, and I can type here Florida. Okay. Next to the text, I can also add variables as well. If you're writing a paragraph and you need that paragraph to be variables and text all combined, you can add variables along with the text. If not, simply leave the text as I already did and click on add. And that will send to the contract the word Florida. And there it is. Every time I generate my contract, it will say Florida. I always recommend when you add your variables to have them aligned to the left. Why? Because you don't know how long, for example, the property address is going to be. So the variable will start, let's say, filling from this place to the right. Okay, so if this is a very short address, then no problem. But if this is a long address, then you'll need all the space left here, so it doesn't come on top of these text of the PDF. Okay, so always, if you're using variables, always try to keep your variables to the left. On this case, I know I can leave Florida right here on this line because this is something fixed. This is not going to change. This is always going to be the same space that it's going to be occupying. So that's there. So I can keep scrolling down, and for example, I can place here my offer price and so on and so on. I always advise, where is offer price? There it is. I always advise to dedicate maybe a couple of minutes on reading what are all the variables available, so you can know what you have in the list whenever you need to fulfill. Whenever you need to fill a contract or an additional document, you know what you have available. I always recommend to take a couple of minutes. Okay. Well, I can go to my second page and keep doing the same thing and so on. In some contracts, well, I think in all the contracts I've seen, you will need to mark some options. And as I mentioned, I can fill with a circle. I can use this check mark, or I can mark with an X. You have those options. If for some reason you added a variable by mistake and you need to delete it, that's very easy, because whenever you click on top of a variable, this little trash can appears that says delete, and with just a simple click, I'll be able to delete that variable, okay? And on the final page, we'll need to add signatures and initials, but right now we haven't done so. So first, we need to upload those signatures and those initials to our account. Right now, I'm going to exit the editor of my contract. This does not have a save button. This is saved automatically. I click here, but I want to make a final check. Everything's done. And here you do need to click here where it says save. As you can see, the name of my contract changed. And now I'm moving to my signature section. We have documents, we have signatures. I already have a couple of things added, but I'm going to delete them because I want you to see how it was done. When you do not have anything added to your account, you'll see this. No signatures added. To add a signature, click on the plus sign. The plus sign is located on the top right. I'm going to click on add. And we'll see first signature, second signature, first initial, second initial. Okay. Right now, since we do not have any, I'm going to add the first signature, and I have two options. I can either draw my signature, which in my case is a terrible option because it looks awful when I do it, or you can upload your signature and your initials. That's what William was talking about. Here, as I mentioned earlier to William, we always recommend to add those signatures in a JPEG format. Okay. Try to have there you go, the background as white as possible. Usually it works perfectly fine without no further editing. Okay, I'm going to click here, select image. I already have a signature here. I'm going to add, let's say this one. So this is my signature. Doesn't matter that it looks a little crooked. I'm going to click now on first initial, and it's going to offer me the same two options. In first initial, I can either draw my initial or I can upload my initial. I'm going to draw it. This one's a little better. With the mouse, it's easier. If you made a mistake, you can always use clear button and start all over. Those are my initials. And I update the information. Actually, I made a mistake. Yeah. I'm going to explain in a second why I made a mistake. Because I have to select a couple of things by separate. First, the signature. And select image. Scroll down. Open. And save. And we add by separate, not the thing I did. We select again, add, first initial, and we draw. As you can see, we made mistakes as well. And now that I draw my initial, I click on save again. Different things, different times we have to press add. So here they are. First signature, first initial. Okay. Now they are in my system and I can use them in my contracts. Let's see how that works in our contracts. I'm going to go back to documents and I'm going to click again on my webinar contract. This is basically opening the same dialog I had before. I scroll and I click on edit contract. Same contract we were editing. And as you can see, the variables appear exactly in the same place where I left them. But remember that the spaces where we need to add the signatures and the initials are by the end of the contract. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the final page. Here we are. I'm not going to read any of this, but I'm going to go straight to the place where I need to place signature and initial. So here I have purchaser, and remember, here in the first drop-down menu, we had the variables, and in the second drop-down menu, we haven't discussed, we'll see the signature and the initials. If I click on my signature right now, it will say the same thing as before. I'll click where I want my signature to be. This be relative because it's not going to be exact. I'll be able to drag it. And same thing with the initials. I'm going to make it smaller. You can make it as small as you need to. And right now, I don't know, what would you think? I'm going to use this webinar in order to ask you a question, a little poll. Do you think these lines should be a little thicker? I don't know if it's an option, but I could ask, but I would like to know from you if you think these lines should be a little thicker. Let me know in the chat. I would love to know your opinion so I can check if that's possible. I think they should be a little thicker. Let's see your opinion. In the meantime, as you can see, here's your signature. Here you have your initials. I'm going to leave them there. And as before, I don't need to click save here in the editor. I just close this window and now I'll be hitting save here on this dialog. But from here, you don't only edit the contract. You can also edit the additional document. I'm going to click here on this little pencil that appears next to my additional document. I think I already have answers. Deborah, she think it's fine the way it is? Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm asking because since I don't generate the contracts as much, I don't know if it looks a little thinner than it should be. But thank you, Deborah. Let's see. Perfect. Please, William, let me know if customer service contacted you. They should have contacted you by now already. Okay, so here it is. Now, this is the editor of my additional document, and this works pretty much exactly the same way as the editor for the contract, okay? Not yet. Okay. Just 1 second. Done. Okay. So this works exactly as the same way as the editor of the contract. Please notice that we have exactly the same options. Because we're editing documents, doesn't matter if they're contracts or if they're additional documents. By the end of the day, these are documents that we're editing, so the options are the same. Okay? So the clauses below will be incorporated into a flow of realtors. Seller, buyer, buyer's initial, seller's initial. Here, for example, is where you can add these little fellas. And remember, the good thing is that you only need to do this once. Okay? You don't need to add the variables every time you generate a contract. The idea of the variables is that you can generate as many contracts as you need to, and they're auto-populated with the information that corresponds. You select the property, and the property address appears where the property address variable is. Okay? Same case, I don't need to save. I'll close. And when I click on save here on this dialog, that saves everything I do from here. Okay? Do you have any questions? Let's give it a second. I see that you do not have any questions. Great. Okay. So, as you can see, for example, here, we have the same contract uploaded over and over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And what changes are how the variables or the variables that appear into the contract. Okay. I have a question here. Deborah, what does the IMP stand for on the naming of the contracts? Well, this is mentor program. These are contracts that are uploaded, to the mentor students for DREA. Okay, I have them here for educational purposes. But that's what it means, mentor program. Okay, so what they do here, so I can teach you a little bit about this. What they do here, got it. What they do here is that they upload the same document, so to speak, several times, but they change a little bit how the document is filled. Okay? But we know that, well, maybe on this case, on the contract that I just uploaded, it's not that important because it's only a 3-page contract. And I didn't add as many variables as I should have had. But we all know that in a 12 pages contract, adding over and over and over again the same variables could be a little time consuming. Mostly if we're talking about variables like this on this space is always going to be the property address. Here you will always have the property city. Here it will always be Florida. It doesn't matter on which of the contracts you're talking about. So maybe you would like an option where you can save the variables and the places they are. We can do that, okay? We can have a template for the contract, okay? Here, we have the template manager. If I click here, I'll be able to use this option that says add new. And what the system is going to save is the variables that I've added on this contract and the places where where they're located. So for example, here I had, there it is. I had 3, 4, and 5 marked with these little options, okay? But I know that I'll use another document where everything will remain the same on the first page, but here on the second page, I'll mark 6, 7, and 8. So everything's going to remain the same, but the marks are going to be here on 8, on 7, and on 6. I'll be erasing these 3. So what are we going to do? We are going to click here on Template Manager. We're going to click on Add New, and I'm going to give a name for my template. So Webinar Template will be a good idea. Webinar Template. And I'll click on OK. Template Contract. I'll click on OK. So this saves in the system which variables are where. If I close this, I'm going to click on Save just in case I made any changes that I forgot. I'm going to upload this document again. Add documents. I'm going to scroll down. I'll click on the same document, open. Disclosure again, agreed, accept, accept. And here it is. Same contract. I'll click on it. And webinar contract 2, let's say. We'll add again all my variables here for all my options. As you can see, this you have to do it with every contract. Okay? Again, you just have to do this once. Then it's already there. No need to do it every time to generate a contract. Again, let's say this one will have an inspection days of 15, and I'll edit my contract. Now, again, I have the same contract but blank, and I really do not want to place one by one all the variables again. Good news, we have our template. I'll click on it. I'll click on the drop-down menu. You'll see a bunch of templates, but here it is, the one that we just created. And I'll click on Apply. And template successfully applied, and I'll click on OK, and we didn't have to do this again. Here we have the variables placed. Again, same thing. I'll be able to make the changes that I want to, as I mentioned. The whole thing was because I wanted to uncheck 3, I want to uncheck 4, and I want to uncheck 5. And now I need to check 6, which I covered with the circle. Drag it. 7, and here it is. 8. You see? Do you have any questions about the template manager for the contracts? This is an option that could save tons of time when you begin with your REIFax account. Okay? You just take your time in order to properly place the variables once, and then all you need to do is make small changes depending on the document you're filling. Let's give it a second. I want to see if you have any questions. Apparently, no questions. Great. So I can close this here. I'm not going to add an additional document. I'm going to leave this as it is. I'll click on save. And the final thing you can edit in order to start sending contracts is the escrow D letter. If I click here on escrow D letter, you'll see that you'll have two options, okay? You can only have two escrows in your account. So I have REIFax LLC, and now I can add REIFax INC, just for example. Address. And I'll leave this as the email, the phone number, and I do not have a fax. So I'm going to leave this as it is, and I'm going to click on save. You can modify the escrow D information whenever you need to. Okay, if for example REIFax LLC called you and let you know that this is not the address anymore, you can change it and click on save. And that's how you upload the escrow D information for any of the escrows. You can change which of these escrows is going to be the default. See, we have this pretty white star next to REIFax INC, but now my default will be REIFax LLC. That's very easy to change. All I need to do is select LLC and click here where it says set default. This changes the position of my star. The star will let you know which is the default. And if you need to erase an escrow, all you need to do is simply delete. Select everything and delete and save. Save the information blank. Okay? And that's it. Do you have any questions about this information about how to change the escrow letter info? Okay, I see that apparently we have no questions about this. So what I want to do is show you how it looks. Okay? What I want to do now is, in my case, I'll go to my follow-up system. And here I'll be able to see all the properties I've added to my follow-up system. So I have a list of 134 properties I want to send a contract, so you can see how the document generates. Okay, I'm going to scroll down. I have already a couple of contracts with the information I want. This is the property where I want to send my contract. I'll select it. Remember, here you can select up to 50 properties, and send up to 50 contracts every day. And I already have an offer price for this property. I'll click on Docs. So here is how the Send Document panel looks from the follow-up. I can click on the drop-down menu and I'll see all the contracts I have. If I scroll down, I have the ones I already uploaded to my account. I'll select Webinar Contract. And remember, I mentioned that if I selected the checkbox, this will be automatically added. Here it is. This is marked here as well. This means that these additional document will be automatically added to my contract. Okay. You have two options. You can send, of course, the contract with the additional documents, or you can send only the additional documents. If you want to send only the additional documents, all you need to do is switch to without contract. So you'll send the add-ons without the contract. If you want to send the contract as well, we switch to with contract. Here we can change everything. We can modify the initial deposit, the additional deposit days and inspection days. We have our acceptance day. Remember, we added a buyer info. Here it is. Here's my buyer information, the one that I set as active. And here's the escrow that I selected as default. If I want to use the other one, I click on the drop-down menu and I can select it there. Okay, I'm going to leave it as a default, or I can select none. That's up to you. And you can also customize your variables. You can change the font, the size, and the coloring for the variables that will be used in the contract and in the additional documents. They can be different. Actually, I have different lettering, Arial for my contract and Book Antigua for my additional documents. That's up to you, how you would like to see it. And of course, you can always preview the document before sending it. This opens a new tab, as you can see, with a PDF file. Please have in mind that since this is a new tab in your browser, you need to have the pop-ups unblocked on your computer, okay? If you click here on preview and nothing happens, please pay attention to this side of the bar. Sometimes a little window appears, and that means that the pop-ups are blocked. Just click on it and click on allow, select allow. Always, I think that the option actually says always allow for REIFax Professional. That's the one you need to select. So whenever you click on view, the document generates with no problem. As you can see, we do not see variables anymore. Now we see the information. We have property address, property city, county. Here it is. Remember that I mentioned that this is the fixed word that I wanted to see. Here it is, Florida, my offer. And if I keep scrolling down, here you have the things that I checked. And by the end, you'll see signature and initials. Okay? And if you keep scrolling down, you'll see your additional documents. Remember that REIFax does not generate one attachment per document, so to speak, but we have only one attachment where you'll have everything. If you have a contract and 3 add-ons, then you have only one PDF, and all you need to do is, as I did, scroll down in order to see all the information. Okay? Once you're happy with how everything looks, just click on email. Okay, so you can send this by email. You can also select fax, which is a very less used option. And when you click on email, you will be able to select the template. Okay, you can type an email from scratch if that's what you want. As you can see, you can also use the variables here. Okay, and this is a very interesting option. This is a brand new option. You can send this contract with a copy to yourself. Okay, so you just switch to with copy to me, and you will receiving a copy of this document. Once you're happy with everything, just click on send doc and the document will be sent. Remember that you need to be very sure that this person, this contact, actually has an email address so you can send this information. All docs were successfully sent and we click on OK. Do you have any questions? I see we do not have any questions. Okay. Well, if later today you encounter some issue you want to attend, or if you remember the question that you had in mind, remember that you can contact us in our chat. Here it is. We heard your suggestions, and I remember that some of you once mentioned that you didn't like the online bar here. So we moved that bar here, and now if you want to contact us, you can click here, this little bubble, and we're online from Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you have any questions, you can type there and we'll chat live with you. If you prefer, you can also give us a call. Our toll-free number is 888-349-5368. We can also answer your questions by phone, of course. And if you prefer, if you need to send something, you can send us an email to reifax@gmail.com. I see here a question. Benjamin, where on the website can I see older webinar or training? Well, you just need to go to REIFax.com. Let's show you. There we are. In our main site, REIFax.com, you just click on resources. The final option says webinars. There you'll be able to find all the previous webinars we've had. Okay? So here they are. Anything you need to know. Stay tuned for next week's webinar. We have some new things we want to show you. And again, you can follow our latest news in Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're in Instagram as REIFax USA. Thank you very much for joining me today. I know it's Friday, so go have a great time with your family and your beloved ones. I really hope you had a great Valentine's Day and have a safe weekend. Bye-bye.